All right, drummers, Garrett here with San Diego Drum Academy. What I want to talk about now with you is an exercise called Bucks. So Bucks is a 8-bar, 4-set exercise. The first 2 set just consists of grace notes. So grace notes, taps, ghost notes, all the same thing. Traditionally, we just call them grace notes. The second set has an accent on beat 1. So 2 bars. Accent happens on beat 1, grace notes, and then again on beat 1. And the second set is accents on 1 and 3. The fourth set is accents on every single downbeat, right? So it's like this. First set of 2 bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Second set, accent on just 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Third set, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Fourth set, every downbeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and then back to the other hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So, when we're drumming, we want to focus on something that my drum teacher when I was a kid told me, wax on, wax off, like the Karate Kid video, right? So we're using this stroke of wax on, wax off, right? Coming up and coming down. So our elbows aren't flailing out while we do this. It's just our wrist, like a string, right? Is pulling up our wrist, like a puppeteer. Is lifting our wrist, and our elbow gently comes out and follows our wrist, and then our hand comes back down. And utilizing this wax on, wax off technique, this whip, if you will, of the wrist, is how we can get turning loud notes from this into this, right? And so it's all about finessing that movement of the wax on, wax off into a smaller range of motion. So from this to this, okay? Now, when we're doing this, we can bring it down, we can scale it down and use it for those grace notes that we talked about, right? So again, we have 3 inches, 6 inches, 9 inches, and 12 inches, right? So if we want these little 3-inch taps to go from this to this, we've got to utilize that little whip, right? But what we do here is just use the hand. So as we lift up for these grace notes, we're lifting up, what happens? Well, the butt of this stick, right? We have the bead, the shoulder, the shaft from here to here, and then we have the butt of the stick. The butt of the stick lifts off the back of the hand, right? So when we throw back the hand, the butt of the stick comes up, okay? So what we do at that moment is we pull it down with the backs of our fingers, right? Just like that. And that's how we can get these little small, dainty kind of taps, like right here, into sounding like this. Like a little 3-inch punch, right? Strong, intently placed grace notes, right? So we don't want these, we want these. So that's the foundation of this exercise, is making sure that we have good, strong taps. So for the first 2 bars, so 1 and 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're focusing on using that wax on, wax off technique, but just little tiny motions in the hand, okay? So we can get those strong grace notes. And then the next thing that we do is we start to incorporate accents, right? And we gradually do this. So for the next 2 bars, there's only an accent on 1, okay? And then we added on 1 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then on the downbeats, 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so when we add these accents, we want to be able to control the accents, right? So we don't have multiple dynamic ranges here. We have an accent and a tap. Okay, whenever things get hard to control, just bring down the dynamics and bring down the speed. Okay, so if we're having a hard time controlling this 12-inch accent, So wiggling around, or it's coming up like that. The rebound is coming up, it's loose. Just bring it down. That's okay. Now, a great way to learn to control an accent is to use these back fingers, okay? The ring finger and the index finger. So when doing this, instead of it rebounding up all loose, we'll use these back fingers and we'll pull. And then closing those back fingers and keeping them closed will stop the stick from bouncing back up. So we'll be able to control the rebound. Because what we don't want it to look like is this. We want this. Controlled, strong accents. Controlled, strong, intentfully placed grace notes, okay? So let's do the exercise. Where's my trusted metronome? It's not plugged in here. Here we go. We're at 80 beats per minute. Let's just go ahead and speed it up to 90. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 6 and 7. Kind of screwed up there in the middle. No big deal. Happens. 2, 3 on the 1 and 2. Controlling those accents. Placing those grace notes while I'm screwing up here trying to talk. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Right? So the whole point of this exercise, guys, is to build the foundations, build the muscles in our hand, right? So these bucks translate directly into flams, right? So if you know what a flam is, it's an accent prefaced with a grace note in the opposite hand. So a right-handed flam has the accent, but right before that accent, there's a grace note. Flam is a super common rudiment in drums. That's what it looks like, right? So if I do a flam back to back, a right-handed flam, and then a left-handed flam, back to back, if I just do that over and over again, what is that? Well, it's bucks, right? So watch. Right? So if I just take one hand away, accent taps. That's all it is. So, try out bucks. Let me know what you think. Make sure you're keeping good form while you're doing this, right? So we don't want to be white knuckling the stick and squeezing too hard with the accents. We want to be nice and relaxed. We want to keep some space right in here. We want to be able to have the thumb separated from the index finger, okay? We want to have the stick right along this first digit of our fingers, right along there. Okay, so we don't want to be up here squeezing like this, closing down this gap. We want to open up the stick like that. So avoid squeezing too hard like this. We don't want to squeeze the life out of the stick, okay? We want to open it up just like that, okay? Letting the stick do the work for us. 50% wrist, 50% finger. See you guys. San Diego Drum Academy. Check us out.